Okay, since I've got it here, and there's still basically almost no wind, there's getting to be a hair of wind, but not much, I'm going to try the Blade 230S. Now, this is the original Blade 230S, not the Blade 230S V2, which quite honestly is a bit of a sore point. I mean, I bought this when it came out, and it was not a cheap helicopter, you know, it was a lot of money. It's, you know, it's not, I can't remember exactly what I paid for it, but it was not cheap. I'll tell you, Blade helicopters are generally not cheap, and this is not at the cheap end of Blade helicopters particularly. And then a year or two later, they bring another one out. They say, oh, well, sorry, that one was a bit, there were some problems with that one. So here, now we brought out a V2 that's fixed the problems, but then makes you feel a bit of a mug for buying the original version, doesn't it? You know, not that I'm saying it's horrible or anything, but you do feel a bit of a mug that you spent a lot of money on something, and then a year or two later they just say, oh, well, that wasn't good enough, here's the V2, and we've fixed the problems in this one. But they don't offer you any upgrade option to upgrade the original one. Anyway, let's see what we can do with it. Not much. We'll have this out again. I had this out indoors as well. This is about the same size, really about the same size as the WL Toys V950 I was flying earlier. You know, a bit more robustly made in a number of ways, I think, as it should be, since it was more than twice the price. And I bought this bind and fly, but then this bind's fine. Now, I think this did come with a battery. I've got a couple of batteries, but I can't remember. May or may not have done. But I'm flying it with the exact battery that Blade recommend for it, an 800 milliamp hour 3-cell. Oh, yes, I did take throttle cut off. Just, whoa. Get him in the air because he's a bit twitchy, he's a bit tippy as you, I think that's one of the things that they said they fixed in the V2. This guy has a tendency, I think, to be a bit tippy as you spool him up. And I think they did, well, I don't know how you'd fix that, I don't know, but I think they did do something to fix that with a V2. He's got a brushless motor in the tail, not a direct, it's a direct drive tail, not a, you know, a motor in the tail, not a torsion driven tail with a variable pitch. Collective pitch, I mean, in many ways, feature-wise, it's quite comparable to the WL Toys V950, but at a higher end. You know, it's got, now that has a brush motor in the tail. This has a brushless motor in the tail, and I don't know. The sun is getting bright. I don't even want to turn round, I don't think, now, because the sun is getting brighter. Behind me, I have a feeling that it's getting to the point where I could blind myself if I go in the sun. Well, he's not died. He's been sitting in the box for a while, and he's not died, at least. We'll see. Yeah, I don't expect to get a lot of flight time with something like this, and especially with a, you know, I mean, I was saying he's fairly comparable to the WL Toys V950, but the recommended battery for that is a 1500 milliamp hour 3-cell. This is an 800 milliamp hour 3-cell. So you would probably assume, and this is dual brushed motors, he's one brushed, one brushless, so you'd probably assume you'd expect longer flight times from the V950. And I was actually flying, I flew the V950 today, yes, the 950, that's correct, that's what I'm talking about. I flew it actually with a 2100 because it was the only battery I got that would fit in it. He holds his altitude fairly well, and he's got, if you want to, he's got lots of control over altitude, because he's collective pitch. Well, I'm not really doing anything with him today. I just wanted to make sure that he still worked. I just wanted to make sure that he still worked, and he does, and, you know, works pretty well, I suppose. I mean, his worst habit probably is that he's a bit tippy on takeoff, which could be a problem. And we'll drop him down rather than trying to lower him too slowly, because we don't want him to get tippy in his prop wash as he gets near the ground. Well, what can I say? I mean, we'll see. Oh, we'll actually try and do something with him at some point. Although I don't think, you know, I don't know, we may probably not till next year, quite honestly now. I might fly him indoors, but I'm not going to do anything much with him indoors. There's not enough room. I wouldn't. Some people would, I dare say, but I wouldn't risk starting to play around with him much in idle up mode indoors, because he needs a bit more room. And we don't have massive amounts of room. I don't mind flying him like that that was just stability mode. I don't mind flying him in stability mode, but I will start playing. I will play around with him in idle up mode again at some point, but not indoors, probably not till we get some nice warm windless methods. So the wind's getting up a teeny bit now, not a lot, but anyway. So I mean, really, I mean, I've got nothing against this this helicopter. It's the worst thing I can say about it, really. Its tail holds pretty well, and it's the worst thing I can say about it, really, is it tends to be it has a bit of a tendency to be tippy on takeoff, which you've got to be careful about. But anyway, I mean, it's fairly well calibrated now. I believe I did have to calibrate it when I first set it up, and they explain how to do that in the manual. You do a calibration flight, and that helps to get it set up and you know, better get the flight controller sorted out. You basically bring it up in a special mode with the transmitter, and then you basically try and hover it as still as you can for like 30 seconds, and it sort of picks up. So long as you manage to hover it fairly still for 30 seconds, it kind of picks up what should be a still hover, and that helps to calibrate the flight controller, and that definitely seemed to help it. Now, I don't know, I have a feeling you don't have to do that with the V2. I'm not sure. Maybe you do. I don't have the V2. And of course they changed the colours in the V2. I don't know. They went to like what, orange canopy and black blades, is it, with a V2? I don't mind these colours at all. I think they're fine. I have nothing against these colours. Anyway, a very vague look at the Horizon Hobby Blade 230S.